Earlier this week, I shared a video about how artists throughout history have used action or motion to make their art more interesting to the viewer. I walked through my local art museum and I found that many artists can create a sense of motion, even when the art is completely still. I shared ideas on how we as photographers can borrow from those artists to make our own photos more dynamic. Now I'll share what I came up with this week. VIPs, make sure you stick around to the end of this video to hear about how you can see more photos and a behind-the-scenes video from the shoot. So this week I chose to use the idea of motion in a portrait, or at least what I was calling motion. Sometimes when we hear action, like Action April, we immediately think of sports or someone running by the camera. But artists sometimes use the subject's action, whether it be fast or slow, to capture a portrait that is interesting to the viewer and certainly more natural than a stiffly posed photo. I'm calling it motion right now to differentiate it from fast action. For my photos, I headed out to a cool dirt road at sunrise, and I used those ideas. Jogging a bit, walking, and even sitting or lying down, but still moving around. In all of the scenarios, I, as the subject of the photo, had a purpose. I was always thinking something or headed somewhere. So there's a sense of motion in the images because I was in motion, which typically will just make a photo more interesting. Also, I'm more engaged in the photo because I'm occupied with something, which leads to the viewer being more engaged. When your subject is interested in something, in what they're doing, or in looking around at their surroundings, the photo suddenly goes from a simple document of what the person looks like to being a bit more, something more dynamic and more engaging, and it might even reveal something about the subject. I have a couple photos up at snapchick.com for everyone to take a look at. I have included technical specifications too. There's a link to that post in the description of this video. And VIPs, make sure that you log in while you're there to see the entire gallery of images and a special behind-the-scenes video from the morning of the shoot, and then again while I was editing the images. I'd love to see what you come up with. Have you used motion or action in your portraits to make them more engaging to the viewer? This idea certainly works in more ways than in portraits. Capturing movement in wildlife photography, in event photography, and what else? What else do you use motion as a technique for? Share your thoughts in the comments below, or your photos on Facebook or on Instagram or Twitter. Remember to tag them as Action April photos. I will be sharing more portraits and other photos for Action April throughout the month. I have a whole range of ideas, so make sure to subscribe to my channel here or like my Facebook page to catch them all. You can find links to all of those things in the description below.